And you ain't black.
What up? What up? What up? What up? Thank you. I just love that round of applause. It's just so welcoming, guys. Well, what's happening? How's everybody doing today? Uh-oh. Let me turn this phone off. There we go. Everybody want to call as soon as I start my show, but that's all good. Anyways, guys, we're gonna have a good show tonight. It's gonna be great. We got a few guests, well, a couple guests here. You guys know my man JP, FWM Podcast. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
Just hanging in there. All right, brother. We got a new face here joining us tonight, Miss Sandy Blooms. How are you?
I'm doing good, feeling alive.
That's what I like. Guys, you already know, hit the like button when you come into the room. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. Excuse me. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that jazz, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, the algorithm is triggered by the likes, guys. So you got to keep the likes up. All right. Show me some love. I appreciate that. Anyways, guys, you saw the thumbnail. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump straight into this. Uh-oh. 1 second. All right, cool. You guys know I got to get everything together on the back end. Anyways, guys, so look, I know we all been watching the election, right? And it's been kind of crazy. All right. Now I got my own personal opinions about the results, but I don't want to hog the spotlight here. So, Sandy, if you don't mind chiming in, letting us know, what are your thoughts on the election? We didn't see a red wave like a lot of people anticipated. We didn't see that. So could you tell us what happened, or what's your thoughts overall?
Oh, well, everything is speculative. So, of course, when I say something about it, it's from my perspective. And I will say that we had the RNC, and it could have been more boots on the ground. There could have been certain precautions and things that could have been in play as far as countywide, as far as statewide. It should have been more. And see, the thing with the Republican Party is we have to remember that we have to continually be year round. Like, we have to have functions, we have to have our community involved year round, and not just when these big elections pop up, or else it seems that way to the people. And the people who are the swing voters, which is usually who will need to swing the ballot and swing the vote in the favor of a red wave. You see, we need that, and it's not happening on the grander scale. Some cities, some states are better. Like, look at Florida. Look at DeSantis. Look at what's happening there. But like in my state, it's not so much. So I think that that's what a prominent issue is.
Wow. Interesting. Mr. JP, you've been following the election. I'm not sure how much, but amongst conservative circles, there was talk of a red wave. The silent majority was going to, come out and big numbers, and we were going to show those Democrats who we are. But it didn't turn out that way, my friend. What's your thoughts, man? Why do you think the silent majority, for lack of a better word, just remain silent? Like, what's going on here, man?
Well, knowing that the presidential election is in 2024, I think a lot of people missed out on understanding this election was the most important one, because at the end of the day, what we're voting for is really going to be what affects us as the people, because directly of the president is just the face, but the House and the Senate is very important. The thing about it too is right now the red wave, I wasn't expecting that, and I appreciate that it wasn't a complete wave, because I don't think people understand either that right now where it's going, it's balanced, and you need a balance, a healthy balance. Like, we don't need a heavy one side, because again, each side is going to feel like it's never fair. I think at this balance right now, it will start to show who can wheel and deal and who can actually come together and be able to talk things out and not worry about feelings so heavy on one side of just how we feel and one side of straight business. Let's get the economy, let's get it done. It is going to have to be a balance where everybody comes together now and listen and understand what's going on.
What
And
do you
I think that's going to force this right now, is forcing people, instead of the divide, it is going to show who really likes to dialogue, come together, do work for real, because it is not going to be now of looks. It is going to be who is really making moves and who is just talking that shit. And it's
I don't know, JP. I don't know, man. I don't mean to interrupt, brother, but I don't know, man, the political left, they don't seem to really want to have a balanced conversation. It seems they're more so focused on like division, if anything.
Well,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I agree with you in that way. On social media, like I see that, but then I also see like we gotta call a spade a spade. And a lot of times I see like what happened with Nancy Pelosi's husband and how, the right handled that. And we came out with all these memes and we were laughing about it and, saying that basically this is, this is funny, but it's not funny. It's not funny when somebody's husband is attacked. It's not funny when somebody almost loses their life, that you make a mockery of that. That's not funny. I can't be an advocate of that. And I can't truly say that I am a conservative if I'm acting like that, because you could be a Republican without being a conservative, but you can't be a conservative without being for God. So when you say that you're godly or you're trying to emulate God, then you don't go out and make memes and funny what you would think is funny, because it's not funny. So I think we could attack things, or we could have handled ourselves a little bit more godly, and that would have promoted or produced a better result.
You know what? I would actually agree with that. That's absolutely true. And you know what come to mind as you were saying that was the whole Kanye with the White Lives Matter shirt. It kind of seemed like, stooping to their level and playing by those sort of like those ad hominems, those destructive tactics. It doesn't really solve anything, and I understand that. But how are we really going to bridge a conversation with the other side of the aisle when they're talking about transitioning our children, right? Critical race theory. They're talking about spending until our economy implodes on itself, and all these things that fundamentally I think is just going to ultimately lead to the further division and destruction in our country. So how can we bridge a conversation with these people when they're so dead set and adamant that they're going to go their own way regardless?
Finally, the president has to be a president for the first time in forever and ever. He has to be what they call, what a president is, what a leader. He is going to be going to be even. He's going to have to be the voice of reason, because they're not going to, the left is going to be all feelings. It's going to be, oh, gimme. Can I have? Let's have this. Oh, I feel this way. Oh, I'm offended. The other side is going to be like, hey, how's the dollars coming? How's the economy moving? And the conversations are not going to align.
Right.
The president's going to have to come through now and be a real person now, and not a face that kiss babies and let the House and the Senate deal with things. He has to now be a CEO, president. He has to be the one that says, hey guys, listen, all that, shut up. Listen, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do.
Okay,
the
real quick,
CEO,
just
the president of any business, any person like that is no other title in no other workplace that the president is just there and everybody just takes care of everything with no input. There's no place ever in nowhere. The United States is a business. So as a business, that means, hey, that CEO has to wheel and deal and make things happen to make the economy move. And the president has never been that, ever. He has just been the scapegoat and the face. It is now showing the world is shifting. People are going to have to finally make moves and stop fronting for Instagram, for the internet, and stop making what it look like, make everybody think it's like that, and let everybody see you putting in the work and doing. Just like earlier when Miss Bloom was saying, you know, she's in the field, you know, and I said, hey, you got one up on me. At least you're in the field. You're doing something. And that's we're going to have to, instead of looking at celebrities and looking
so the people need to get more the people need to be more motivated to participate in our political
and not even motivated, right. Paying attention to the people who are really in the field. Yeah. That's
even
really
on the local level, even on the local level too. So
not the ones that just take pictures and say, hey, y'all, I'm out here, take pictures, blah, 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 and then they leave. No, a person like her, person like Charleston, a person like Kwame, a person like people like that who are putting in the work and not just as charity.
Let me segue.
Do that for charity.
All right, real quick before we move on to the next question, do you guys think that the Republicans will hold the Senate?
I think there's a great chance. I think there's a great chance if we don't focus on, like we said, the little stuff, the little issues and the petty hearsay stuff, but we focus on facts and we can show the people what's really happening instead of, you know, just focusing on the petty, because there was a certain amount of time, but like 3-4 months straight, we was just, you know, the smear campaign, and, you know, right behind each other. And then it's news press to go and try to do what's called damage control and try to redirect what happened from these smear campaigns. But I think if we could have left that where it was and just went ahead into what are we doing and not really shedding so much light on them, you know, but really just shedding light on ourselves, then things could have been a little bit different.
What about you, JP? You think you think the Republicans will hold the Senate? Looks like we got the House, but the Senate.
I want it to be split down the middle.
You want it to be split down the middle, huh?
I want to see. You
want force integration, huh?
I'm a gamble.
All right, I feel you.
I'm gonna gamble, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because as an individual, I'm still gonna have to push through no matter who runs it. I can't allow anything. I can follow whatever the rules are, but I can't expect them for my livelihood. I'm gonna have to make something happen. So whether or not, but what's going to give me the grave chance is giving me a level playing field and let me show how I move. I don't need to expect the government to help me move. I don't want to expect one side to say, I'm going to give you this. No. Put it down the middle and let me just do what I need to do.
Well, I don't know. Well, I'll ask. I have a really great question. Then I'm going to piggyback what you just said off of later on. But moving on, I got a clip I want to show y'all real quick, and I want to get you guys' thoughts. I want to hear what you think about this little clip here. 1 second. Oh no, it doesn't.
Republicans are always playing catch up. For example, so they're constantly being reactionaries to leftist or Marxist propaganda.
The marketing is strong in the left.
Exactly. They know the kind of reaction it's going to get. It's all tactical. They're doing it more for the spectator than they are for the influencer.
Yeah.
the spectator will look at it. The child with their phone on YouTube, they'll look at it and say, oh, all these stuck up conservatives, they're the evil bigots, when all this person is doing is wanting to express themselves. Yeah. They understand full well the way these things work. Yeah. Because they don't understand the tactics of the left, they're constantly being reactionaries to the left. Yeah. This is true not only of Republican politicians, it's also true amongst influencers, I'm sorry to say, where we spend a lot of our time reacting to what the left is doing, reacting to something that Cardi B said or what have you. And it makes for good entertainment. But my concern is that the Republican Party today is a Democrat Party from 10 years ago. Ooh. Because we've lost touch with the constitutional republic laid forth once again by our founding fathers. And so, yes, for a lot of people, they might think it's a lose-lose situation if you're on this side of the political spectrum. However, I do believe that we have to get more creative with how we're going to go after this ideology that's crippling our country. I love it.
We're doing these.
Come on.
We're using these actions to get media attention.
Oh, come on.
Because we need to get people talking about this now.
All right. Well, it looks like that's not going to play all the way through.
We know that civil resistance works. History has shown us that it works.
All right. Yeah. Okay. That's the pink-headed girl's talking about her, her revolutionary tactics. So here's my question, guys. I'm going to pitch this to you first, JP. Do you think because Republicans and conservatives always want to play by the rules and don't really quite understand the political tactics of the left, right? Do you think they're more, because they don't understand, are they more reactionary now than proactive? Because you often hear in the black community, in particular, that, Republicans don't do nothing for me. They're just a bunch of racist old white guys, You don't really hear much. You don't really see that connection that they're making, like a proactive, direction to try to draw out their base from different ethnic groups. So do you think that they become more reactionary now, trying to catch up to the cultural side of what the left is doing?
Nah. Okay. Because again, let me ask you this. Can you call those tactics that they're doing, or you just see child's play?
I mean,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Everything is a joke. Everything is an insult. It's like how we used to make fun of each other in school. It's like just making funny memes. It's like I've seen so many Herschel Walker memes, like in my city. It's shit that's on the timelines that say, oh, they said such and such building burnt down because of Herschel Walker. It's like certain things like that. That's all that they have. They don't have tactics, because if they had tactics, they will beat us at the game of what we do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? All they have is just to jab you, to get you to want to have a reaction. But most of us are just like, when I'm listening to that video and I'm like, I'm not reactive, because the whole time I'm thinking in my head, like, why do you feel like if you can't combat with me intellectually or to prove your point when we're going back and forth in a dialogue just with an insult? I'm like, that's all? You have to insult me. Your first response is, oh, you're a Trump supporter, or it has to, because they would say Uncle Tom, shit. Like, it's like all they have is insults. And you like, after a while, you just be like, all right, man, whatever. And now they're like, you don't, because man, now you don't want to have that conversation, because
it's a way to silence you. Yeah,
my brain power.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, Sandy. So what do you think? Do you think that because the Republicans don't really understand these tactics that the left are using to rev up their base, galvanize their base, do you think they become more reactionary now?
I think so, definitely, because if you look at it and you look at it from the standpoint of the same people are in in power, and the same people are going to these meetings and speaking for, you know, the Republican Party. And, you know, they have shown time and time again that with these same people, you know, certain races just aren't won for us. And so maybe we need some people who are more in touch with different cultures, and not just saying, oh, the Black community, we need someone in touch with the Black community, but we definitely need to know, we need someone who knows how to deal and interact, because with the not just the Black community, the Asian community, the Chinese community, all these other communities and their community, but they need to be relatable, and because they're not so relatable right now, I can see how that is an issue. Now, I also understand that when you're speaking truth, it shouldn't matter where I come from. It shouldn't matter, you know, what I look like, because I'm speaking truth. But we got to understand that we progress to be in a society where we need those things in order to open up those conversations with people, and especially these swing voters. You know, that's my personal opinion, though.
Right.
Well,
right.
your truth doesn't get heard or respected unless they look at your followers on your social media and that deems you worthy to even be listened to. Your bank account is deemed if we should listen to you. It's never about how you look unless you are an Instagram model that gets a whole bunch of likes. So it's just crazy. But I'm gonna tell you this though. Just watching Trump, yeah, his run is over with though. After how he just reacted with Candace Owens, he done ran out of his bullets. He came out fire in 16, got it, and then 20 it was up in the air. If it wasn't for COVID, Trump would have took it. But again, the Democrat Party is like, it's like a game of basketball, whatever. They slowed the game down. Trump was going head on. I'm talking about the Democrats called a timeout and slowed the game down.
Yeah, I think my opinion is, I think that I don't know. I just think the Conservative Party overall, conservative base overall, has become very lax days ago in how they confront some of these issues. You know what I'm saying? I just think that we don't really have that core fundamental values that once glued us together, and which was, you know, supposed to be our constitutional values, you know, our country, the creed that we all once upon a time followed. But now it's like we're all atomized. Everybody's kind of like doing their own thing. There's no sort of cohesion, and I think that's kind of, and I think Trump kind of like revivified the. I believe Trump kind of like revivified the Republican Party, and now they're just trying to
pick up the pieces.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're like disenfranchised right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree though, because I mean, when you look at it and you see Trump and how he is and how he was, I feel like he endorsed a lot of candidates, and he endorsed a lot of candidates in my state and throughout the cities in my states. And so I said, you know, he's taking the Republican Party very far right now. And then not only that, he's like the face. You know, he was just on his what is it, appraisal or some type of television show he was on, and you know, he had millions of viewers and subscribers from there. So he was growing up, and they said this is a perfect time. Now the thing is if DeSantis runs, and I don't know if
I was waiting to chime in.
Why y'all gotta bring up DeSantis? Damn it!
Thank you.
Why you gotta bring up DeSantis?
Thank you. Because at the end of the day, Trump has not adjusted. He has to adjust. He's still riding on that high. And the game is changing. You ever watch the Hall of Fame?
He's getting in his own way. That's the problem. He's getting in his own way.
Hall of Fame player, or a Hall of
absolutely.
Fame coach, they're good during their reign, and then they take that 2 to 4 year break, and then they try to come back into coaching, and they try to live off of the national championships or the Super Bowls or the championships they won before. But they don't realize in this world now, Trump is almost 80. But he's not understanding in this time right now, 4 years is a millennium that just flew by. And he's not understanding that because he's so old and still thinking time stands.
Hey. He's not, listen, he's not senile like our current president.
But he
now. Come
doesn't
on,
understand you got to change up your game because Ron, if Ron decides to run, you got to go with the hot hand and you got to go with Ron. I mean, yeah, you Trump, but you got to be real. The young cat, listen, you got a young in the bullpen right now. It's like, hey, he almost ready to come out. So what you want to do? You can,
but will they endorse it though?
And he can,
endorse it.
But Trump can VP.
Trump can VP. Come on, that's
now
not Trump's style.
He's not gonna VP. Now from the bottom of your heart. That would be like Destiny's Child and Beyonce all over again.
Beyonce is not taking the back seat.
So with him not doing that, check this out. With him not doing that, he does not realize also that ego and that pride is playing up to the propaganda of what the left is saying is you're an old, surly white man that won't relinquish power.
Yeah, their ratings are shot
since
he's been out
on that boy head. If he has to understand to adjust. If he does not do that, then he will continue to play in where they're trying to lead him into. And he's so old, he's not understanding not to run down that rabbit hole. Do not do it. But his ego and his pride won't let up.
All right. Let me go ahead and move on to the next question. I know this is good, but we still got to get to the meat, guys. We got to get to the meat. All right. The ladies love the meat. All right, here we go. we all like the meat. All right, here we go. All right, guys. Oh shit.
I'm also lying.
Man, hold up. Come here. Okay, see, Sandy, I'm telling you, I got my mouse right on this button here.
He said,
all right, guys, here we go.
Close.
just get a little close to me. Just get a little close up for me real quick. Real quick. All right, here we go. All right, guys, here we go. I'm play this little clip.
In barbershops.
He's a Republican, right?
Even at concerts.
Shout out to everybody who's registered to vote here.
In Georgia and other battleground states across the country, an all-out effort to get Black men to vote.
We're going to make a difference in the world by our vote. Our vote.
At any time cuts in Atlanta, these men say their priorities as they look toward November are tied to economics.
Number one priority for me as a Black man is, maintaining my business.
In a recent conversation hosted by Black Men Decide and the Atlanta Urban League, voters said they feel like both parties aren't messaging directly to them.
Historically, I feel like it's kind of been the Republicans that, look out for business owners from a tax perspective.
I know that if the agenda for Black men works, it works for everyone.
Both Democratic and Republican campaigns are competing for Black men through targeted messaging and events.
I'm asking people to trust me.
In the race for Georgia's Senate seat, two Black men going head-to-head at St. Philip AME in Atlanta.
All right, cool. All right, we got the gist of it. Man, every time I see Stacey Abrams, I swear it looked like she just finished eating something. Let me pull that down. Like she just ate like 3 donuts. Stop it. And a whole gallon of milk. Like, vitamin D.
Vitamin D. Being reactive. You got to hit them back with the insults. You got to hit them back with the insults.
See, look, crazy. Okay. My bad. Let me be nice.
But are you lying? No, you're not.
No.
But
I'm telling the truth.
It just rolls off the tongue because it's like you really want to play that game because we really have ammunition.
No, I don't know. I don't think that's how. I don't think
that's the type of battle y'all want to get into. Yeah. Y'all want to insult. So let's
no. I understand. Listen, I understand what you're saying. I understand on a just as far as having discourse. I don't think that's appropriate at all, especially when you're conversing with the other side at all. Not at all. I think if you're going to bridge some understanding, you shouldn't throw ad hominem attacks and nothing like that. I mean, that's not going to solve anything.
But it's funny.
You can have a little fun. Yeah, real talk.
It's funny
All right,
though.
so you guys just saw the clip. So what I got out of that is that black men, since excuse me, black men is they're slowly leaving, and it's kind of like, relevant to the meat of the discussion, but black men are leaving the Democratic platform, and they're leaving it gradually, but they're starting to feel kind of displaced, as if neither they belong to the Democrat Party or the Republican Party. So as conservatives, I'm gonna pitch this to you first, Andy. As conservatives, how can Republicans better pitch a conservative message to black men, in your view?
First of all, I want to start by saying that we shouldn't have to pitch the conservative view to the men, because number one, this is the nuclear family. And by nuclear family, I'm saying man, wife, child. The whole thing you were created to do. And so many of our men love doing it. How can you not see that you should not have to be persuaded? But if in fact, we do have to address that there are some people who are
Good
not
point.
sure of themselves, and they're not sure of where the world is coming to. They think the left is right and the right is left, and they're confused. And so, right, it is, our job to kind of help them see through. That's why we have our county parties. That's why we have our local meetings, because you get with your local party where you live at, and in your state, you get with your state GOP, because they're supposed to be teaching us, showing us exactly how to, what's going on with the Constitution, what's going on with the law right now, what's going on with our candidates. We're supposed to be doing that. Now, what happens is when that does not happen, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it should be our job. We should influence them. We should help them. But, at the end of the day, your God-given right, what you were put here to do. And even if you don't agree on the whole conservative thing, you can agree that you were put here to do it. And once you do it with the right thing, it produces. So, let's just, I mean, we can't badger a person with it, but we could be a little bit more gentle.
Yeah. Okay. So I heard you say re-enshrining the family values. Like they need to sort of reinforce this idea that once upon a time, we are a country predicated on the family unit, essentially, and I totally agree. And I think more engagement too. But I'll state my opinion after JP. JP, what's your thoughts, man? How do you think the conservative can how can the Republicans pitch a better conservative message?
The conservatives?
Yes, the conservatives, the platform that believes in God, family.
What are you gonna pitch? We know what we're supposed to do. The problem is what you have to do is, so what we're listening to Stacey saying, hey, men, we don't have to tell you anything, because at the end of the day, we're not going to give you anything. We're going to empower everybody else but you. And you need to be okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, we're going to call you a woman hater. We're going to call you a homophobe.
Yep. That's those tactics I was telling you about.
We just going to keep squeezing your balls until you scream ouch. And
oh my goodness.
At the end of the day, that's what she, bro, just to listen to her and Keisha Bottoms. You said the black men are uninformed. What the fuck are we not? What are we uninformed about? What are you talking about? The problem is it's not about the men, because most of the men are voting is conservative. It's the women outnumber the men, and they're all voting that way, because at the end of the day, most of the Democratic laws is going to always fit the bill for the single woman. Or if you're not single, understand we're going to give it to you, so tell your man to stand down so you can be able to continue to get this. So even with the abortion, I can't even start to believe that women would even, and the Democrats, again, the play on words is so amazing, because all they said is they're trying to control your body. They're trying to tell you that you can't get an abortion. Not one time that the argument was that you were trying to get an abortion up to 8 months after your baby shower. What are you talking about? They never said that you could not go and get an abortion. See, what they don't like It's restrictions and rules.
Zero.
They tell you not to do it
But
at all.
you just said though earlier, we need to have a fair and equal balance. How are you going to have a fair balance with such a radical view, with someone who holds such a radical view in terms of life and when life starts? How are you going to bridge a conversation with that person? You show me and I'll follow the blueprint.
First of all, what you eliminate is influence, which is all across social media, and you have each individual pushing aside. Just live your life. Stop trying to push aside. Let people see what your actions do. And when if God gives you the free will, he gives you the free will. So if you think that that's a good way to go that way. If you don't go that way. But nobody should have to come up to you and convince you and persuade you either way. Look at my actions. You know right from wrong. You are grown. What do you think? At the end of the day, you make your own decision. Stop allowing people to sway you left or right. Look at it yourself. If it makes sense, it does. If it don't, it don't. Stop letting somebody else tell you it don't make sense, or letting somebody else tell you it makes sense. What do you fucking think? Because your nuclear family is what your responsibility is, not nobody else's family. You get your house in order. You have your house in order. That's all you need to worry about. Your kids have tunnel vision. They don't be persuaded by, but it starts in the house. But such a divide with no two-parent households or anything that has a structure, it's going to always bring that though.
So Sandy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think we got to get into the mental health aspect of our people. Reason being is because, there are some people who had children and they were married, the father died, or the father went off to war, never came back, whatever the cause is. But we have to get into the mental health with people, period. Not just our people, but with people. It says statistics show, and of course, these statistics are all scanty, but 1 in every 5 persons that we meet in America are deemed to have some sort of mental illness. And we know that mental illness ranges from a lot of different levels. But the reason I say that is because, when you grow up, and this generation, especially the generation after us, and some in my generation, there's a barrier. We go pushing our carts. We got them filled full of food, and somebody will cut you off, run your foot over, and not even say excuse me. So how do you expect somebody who doesn't even acknowledge your very existence and doesn't know how to be civil in the least bit of way to be able to comprehend what's going on politically? The rabbit hole goes deep, and it's a lot of stuff going on, and it's a lot that needs to be unveiled over their eyes. But before we can introduce certain things and expect you to understand it, we've got to get you some help. And so, not saying that they have mental issues, because if we have 5 Republicans in a room, it says 1 in 5 out of us is going to have a mental issue. But what I'm saying is we have to have real adults who are mature enough and to be able to have these conversations. And how we get that is by our county meetings, our local meetings, our state GOP, our RNC, from the head down. It comes from leadership, like we stated in the beginning.
So Sandy, I want to ask you, because you, like JP said, you have been out there in the field. So is it how much impact will it have if more people were to get involved, like on a local level? Like, do you think that'll like translate into like a more of a national momentum if people were to get involved from a local level?
Yeah, I think so, because the thing of it is people are really speculating. There's a lot of speculation going on about the conservative Republican Party and things that we believe in, things that we don't believe in. Most of the time when I'm hearing things about us, it's things that are not true. So the issue is that there's not a connection going on between people in society who are not in the party and people who are in the party. There's a disconnection somewhere, and there needs to be a bridge between the two. And it is for the RNC, the GOP, to get involved in order to do that.
Okay. All right.
We preach it all the time. Educate, don't mandate. But we got to do the same thing.
Educate, don't mandate. That's what I like. Stay out my business. We don't need the government in our business telling us what to do. Good Lord. I mean, come on. Look, our rights predate government, all right? They don't give us our rights. Government does not enshrine you with your God-given rights. You are born with them. Enact on it. All right. Let's move on here. So let me ask. I kind of want to play the next video, but I guess I'll go ahead and pitch this question here. So, and this, Andy, this will go for you. How do you think what do you think conservatives need to do? And I know we kind of rehashed this a little bit, but what do you think conservatives need to do to win back America? What do we need to do? What's the first step we need to do?
We need to start acknowledging some of the things that are being said about us, but not acknowledging it in an attackful way. But we need to say what we stand for. We need to start being loud and clear. See, a lot of things is we got a lot of proud Republicans and a lot of proud conservatives when it comes time to being showing and like JP said, putting on a showy display. But when it comes to actually showing who we are, we're not doing that. We're not showing people that we're the God following people who are trying to uphold the Constitution and, own our own and coexist. Because when you are trying to say that you want to, have these businesses and less government, that means we need to have more interaction with each other. So when we remove a lot of that government and we have interactions with each other, how good is it going to get if we can't even talk? So I think that, we do need to kind of come together. We need to debunk some of these things that are being said about us, but not from a showy display kind of place like a haughty, I'm this, but from the most humble way, period. And of course, it's going to be missed by some people because, the Bible says that, your spirit will be drawn out. So some people are not going to receive it, but the majority whose heart is in the right place, who it matters to, will.
Many shall be called, few will be chosen.
That's right.
That's a fact.
All
right, now. All right. So guys, and I know I'll probably beat this dead horse a little too many times here, but again, I'm still trying to understand, where do we go from here as in terms of, is it conducive for Republicans to try to bridge an understanding, some common ground with the other side, or is the only course of action is to just separate off and do our own thing and try to draw people onto our base because we are representing the core fundamental values of our country? So that I don't know. I don't think I still really got a clear answer on that. So I want to show JP. I want to show Mr. JP with how the other side thinks. And this is, and help me understand, man. Like I said, I need you to help me understand. All right, hold up. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
All right.
Be a lot more intentional when it comes to Black Americans.
They're less likely to have state IDs.
They don't have the knowledge of how it works. They don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed.
When you see a Black person being pulled over, stop.
Government is more interested.
Let me take that down. All right. So, all right, JP, what's your initial thoughts, man, about what you saw? They said Black folks cannot get access to the internet. We're less likely to have a state ID. I mean, when you have a side of the aisle that thinks so low of you, how do you then have a civil discourse with that person? Which I'm not saying is not possible. I'm just saying, but that's the preconceived notion there, right? Talk to me. Help me understand.
Once again, bro, you going into the reactive phase.
I'm just asking.
Why? How does that bot you look at something like that and you be like,
that is the prevailing. That is the prevailing narrative.
Right.
I agree.
I agree. That stuff we know is a lie. I listen to that and no, it's not. And I move on. I can't let something like that. Again, if it's split down the middle, bro, I'm telling you, it will show.
And if it's split down in the middle and they're promulgating, but they're promulgating, fallacies like that,
only the
blatant lies like that, is that enough to just turn a blind eye and just whistle past the grave like it's not happening?
Bro, at the end of the day, Are they putting their hands on you? In my opinion, for me, I laugh at that because for someone to believe that, for them to be spewing that, and someone to believe that, that just means they're just as uneducated as them, because, and not even uneducated, that you would even follow up with that, because at the end of the day, Black people have to have IDs. We carry IDs around. Now, when a police pull you over, people who are doing wrong, even them, they have IDs. They just tell the police they don't have it.
So
Until
listen.
have to get shook down and find out, yeah, you got one.
Okay, you know what?
I carried it around on purpose.
All right, JP, I apologize, man. I actually had a question for that. I apologize. That's my bad. I should have asked the question. The question was, I'm sorry about that. And you know what? You can finish your thought too. So the question was, why do you think liberals and those on the far left think Black people are inadequate, are incapable, and are inadequate to compete in America, and that somehow it's the system's fault?
They don't believe that, Neil.
No, you didn't just see that?
They don't believe that. They're saying that. So people who follow them, they will not move forward in trying to, because we are thinkers, we are doers.
You must have never met a liberal before, have you?
But
I said you must have never met a liberal before, have you?
Yeah, I have. We see them all the time. We see them all the time, Neil. I see them all the time. The thing about it is, bro, again, all I know is this. When you hear things like that, me personally, like I said, I don't pay attention. But for the ones who, again, when you listen and you hear the people spew that like that, you have to only think like that one side, whoever stays there, they're going to forever be stagnant. They're going to forever be stagnant. And again, if you continue to be reactive, you will fall into not moving, progressing yourself. There's no conversations gonna be had, Neil. That's what you keep asking the same question. There will be no conversation. Either you're going to see that this right or wrong, left or right. The ones who are going to survive are going to survive. The ones who are not, they're going to starve. They're going to kill and hunt. But at the end of the day, that's all that we keep spending so much time trying to talk with people who are following up with wanting to joke around and play. That's not life.
So you say don't pay them no attention, basically. Don't pay them no mind.
That's gonna stop your progress. Again, they're going to have to get smart enough to realize me just picking and joking and stopping laughing is not getting me anywhere. It's not getting me anywhere. It's keeping me staying here. Why does that person, as I'm shouting out them, insulting them, why are they moving further and further away from me that I got to scream louder to insult them? The person that stays there and listens to it, the louder that it is, that means the closer that they have gotten to you. That means you have stopped moving.
Let me ask Miss Sandy.
Conservative, your mindset should always be how the next move. You should never be thinking about who's stopping you from moving.
Looking ahead, I got you.
They can only stop you if you allow them to stop you.
All right, Miss Sandy, what are your thoughts on what you saw? I mean, you pretty much heard the question. Do you think? Oops, well, that's not it.
The video about Black people.
Yeah. What's your initial thoughts about that?
I think, and I'll be honest with you, I think that I do know I've known some Black people like that, but they didn't come from the walk of life that we are on. So there are different types of people, and it's not just race or cultural. There are ignorant ass people who do some ignorant ass. They just don't really care about the welfare of themselves or people around them. So those type of people walk around without an ID because they don't know what they're going to get into. They loose out here, And so some of them really don't. They have suspended licenses. Their licenses have been taken, things like that. But we're talking about people who are actually progressive society are actually out here trying to be something, are actually trying to own things, are actually trying to contribute to our country and the way things are going. and make them better. You know what I mean? Better. So I think that that is true. You know, there are some, and I'm sorry that you met those, but there are also some crackhead white people that are staying in trailer parks and have no goals with life either. They're just like those same black people who don't have a daggone ID.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the majority of us would like to survive, and not just survive, but enjoy living life.
Yeah. Because I think about the whole voter suppression narrative, like voter suppression. We are still being antagonized and kept from voting and things like that. Is just it bewilders me that how is this even like up for discussion right now? I don't understand how are people even able to say such things which they know they're blatantly false. So I don't know, blows my mind. All right, guys, we are getting closer to the closing, so I want to get to the meat. We'll get to the meat. All right, hold up real quick. Sandy loves the meat. All right, let's get the meat. All right, where we at? All right, here we go. And check him out. All right, guys.
NBC News correspondent Zincle Asamoah spoke to one candidate in Texas to learn more about what's motivating them this election season.
We need Black excellence everywhere. Republican, Democrat, Independent.
A key Democratic
Oh no, you better not.
voting bloc,
Okay.
Black people, may be turning to the Republican Party.
Because at least we're in the room to at least add some color, if you will.
I met Wesley Hunt at a Trump rally in Robstown, Texas.
That is the America that I know and love.
He's a Republican running for the state's U.S. House District 38 seat, one of a record 178 Black Republican candidates running for office in 2022. Black Republicans are not new, but Howard University's Dr. Kanisha Grant says today motivators for Black voters are shifting.
And so whereas people would think about race first, in the past, they now think about something like the economy first, or they might think about education first, or they might think about religion first.
This does differ by gender, with Black men nearly 3 times more likely than Black women to have voted for Trump. For Black Republicans I spoke with, issues of faith and economy are critical.
I don't believe in homosexuality. I don't support same-sex marriage. I don't support abortion.
Thomas Isbell says religion moved his vote. Chandra, who
All right,
asked
brother. All right, brother. Okay. All right, let me pull that down. All right. So, Mr. JP, I'm gonna shoot this one to you, brother. The meat of the conversation. All right. So why is there a steady rise in conservatism amongst Black men? And I get you. We all just need to do us. Don't worry about it. I get you. But the polls and what the data is showing is that Black men are gradually leaving that Democratic platform. And I want to know, why do you think that's happening?
So there's two ways too. All right. So a lot of men that have no record, conservative men, straight, straight and narrow, they're realizing also entrepreneurship and getting things together, being a provider, and actually, money wise of economy, how the world moves. But also there has been a lot of, guys, especially not saying Democrat, but have been raised in that type of atmosphere that chose the wrong path and got slipped up on a couple of things, went to jail. But a lot of these people who are being released and they have nothing but what they have on their record, they are forced to be entrepreneurs. And a lot of them are getting it a lot faster too. So now when you were saying now all these mass people being, released off of, nonviolent crimes, and these guys who made mistakes in their early 20s and they're just 28, 30, but they're getting it now, understanding, okay, I need to go buy a truck. I need to do this, and this. They're following suit and understanding the conservative way and the Republican way is showing them how to make money and be a boss. The Democrat side is not showing that. So that is the reason why the spike is now. They're understanding, okay, oh dang, they're giving away some money. I need to take that money instead of being dependent on that money. I don't know how many times they're going to give this money out. Let me get this money. Let me flip it and do something positive with it. And if it jump, it jump. If it don't, I tried. But using a hustler mentality or the go-getter mentality, because of sometimes it was drugs or anything that got you locked up, you were growing up in the streets, you already have that mentality to go get it. So now what they're doing now is understanding that. And that's where the rise at. They're understanding, oh, that other side is not going to give me no money for me to stand up. They're going to make me dependent, maybe raise my woman above me, and she may stand on my head. Not saying it's a bad thing for her to be the breadwinner, but the empowerment of, I make all the money, and the women are standing on those men's heads. That's the issue too. But I'm not, again, it's only certain responses, bro, takes the doing me and do whatever. But again, that question there is different.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. All right, Miss Sandy, what you think? What's your thoughts? Why do you think there's a steady rise in conservatism amongst Black men? What are your thoughts?
I think, like you said, I agree with JP, but then I also think that men are getting tired of being stepped on. And I'm not saying, about the LGBT community. I'm talking about the men who are about the nuclear family are being tired of being looked at as if they can't be a part of their families. When I'm married, when I went to have my daughters, I'm at the hospital, I'm going to my doctor's appointments. There's only one chair there. I'm like, why is there only one chair here? Half the time they said he couldn't even come to the appointments. I'm like, what do you mean? Okay, so we need a private doctor. We need to get a doula. We need to have all these things in order because they're trying to take, and it costs, and a lot of people can't afford it, especially if you're a small business, some things like that, they just can't. And so they're stuck in those situations. And let's be clear about something here. Welfare is not bad because it's set up for people who actually need it. There are old people who are in their 80s and their 90s and they cannot work. They don't have any family, and that is set up for them. But the problem comes in when you abuse it. The problem comes in you abuse it, and then we become we sit at a deficit, and so our children, your children, their great grandchildren are working to pay off the deficit because so many people have abused it. That is the problem, and there's nobody to really mediate that because people know how to scam and scam well. So I think that men are getting tired of being abused, of being taken out of the family, and they're tired of the disrespect. And we see it even in the conservative party. We had how many candidates that were married that just got divorced this previous term and that were in relationships, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of that going on instead of people saying, listen, stick it out, work it out. And people are getting tired of that. It's not just the men, you got women too that are standing up from the Democratic Party, the Liberal Party, and some coming from being independent and just saying, listen, you know what, I'm going to be more conservative. And when we say conservatives often, we automatically think that a person has to be Republican to be conservative, and that's not true. That conservatism in whichever party is going to allow us to be humble enough to sit down and talk. There are going to be some shots thrown. There are going to be some shots fired. But if we can at least humble ourselves, we can have these conversations and get there. And I think men are at the point where they're progressively getting there. And that is also to do with us and the way we pray and the way that we see things and how this is coming and where the world is coming to now. The music says, you know what, take the family and tear it apart. The woman is glorifying being a side chick. How do we come from a diverse community from wearing A's on our chest and being hanged and killed to saying, oh, it's okay if you sleep with my husband. Polygamy is all where it's at. We have all these growing, diseases and things, and people can't even afford to take care of single families. How are we adding on to all of this? That is the issue, is that we are complicating things when we already have a manual and a way outlined for us in which we should live, and it's been proven, tried, and tested to be secure that way. But we're coming in with our own ideologies, our own emotions, and men are tired of that.
Ooh, wait, hold up now. Let's give her a round of applause for that. Ooh, Lord. She came with the heat. Wow, that was great. My view, And you guys, I think both you guys for the most part touched on that. I think it's a returning back to our traditional values. We need to return back to our traditional values. Look, it worked. It absolutely worked. And what was working should have never been broken, should have never been changed, should have never been modified, right? I just think with the inception of a lot of these radical movements, which a lot of it took place during the early 60s, guys, you've already talked about this before. We ever so abandoned those moral principles that we once held. So yeah, and I think that a lot of men are just getting tired of it, and as Miss Sandy here elucidated, the women, some of them are waking up. I mean, you guys just heard her go. You guys hear Miss Sandy, she feels it too. So a lot of women are getting tired of it too. We want to return back to the nuclear family because that is the foundation, the backbone of our nation. All right. And the Democrats are not preaching that message. They want you guys to be heavily reliant upon them, the government. All right. They want to expand the government. So, oh my gosh, guys, I think we covered a lot of ground. I think we covered hold on. We didn't cover hold on. I gotta do this. I'm sorry. This is a man's world. I just had to throw that in there. My bad. Anyways, Miss Sandy, how can the folks find you?
I'm on Sandy Bloom's everything, Facebook, Rumble, Instagram, YouTube. So just Sandy Bloom's. I'm always out. I'm with CTVA.tv. So we're conservative television of America. We've got literally 6 stations now, and we're growing. So he's trying to have 200 stations in 40 states. So we're moving.
Wow. All right.
So if you see me out, show some love, show some support. Even if we have different ideologies, you can't seem to just ask me. Tell me what you think. Let's talk about it. I'm all good for it, but you get crazy. I will call police. But I will show respect. I am somebody you can talk to. I am someone who wants to hear where you're coming from because we all create this little puzzle of life.
Yeah, you guys hear that? So if you see her out and about, just say hi, wave to her, go spark up a conversation. But if you act wild, she's gonna have to real quick. So let's just make sure we keep it cordial. All right, Mr. JP, you've been on here a couple times, man, but go ahead and tell the folks how they can get a hold of you.
At FWM_podcast on Instagram and TikTok. That's pretty much it. I'm definitely always dropping content. The FWM podcast every Tuesday, new episodes every Tuesday. On Instagram and TikTok, I'm giving you the rundown on, everything that you need to know all the time. So just add me, follow me. Miss Bloom, it was a pleasure having a dialogue with you tonight. That was definitely, I appreciate that. Was something
what about me?
I needed for myself too. Like,
wait. I don't get no love.
Man, she was your guest.
I'm just messing.
She was your guest. I mean that, and for somebody to come on, man.
All right, Trump.
Okay, really?
That's the vice president.
Don't gonna do me like that. Okay,
gave me the vice.
All right, let me just shut my mouth up. All right. Anyways, guys, this was great. This was really great. I appreciate you guys. People in the chat, let me check these likes. Okay, my likes are okay. I'm liking where they at. Guys, subscribe. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, we are just beefing. All right, we are just gonna beef. We're just gonna beef, and it's gonna stay that way until you subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit the like button, hit the notification bell, guys, because YouTube is censoring and this particular content they're not too friendly of. So I appreciate you guys. You guys already know how we end this. We are speaking truth and reality. And I promise you, in time, we will reinstitute morality. Have a good night.
And you ain't black.